Hello, I'm Daria Folsom from Cron 4, and it's my pleasure to sit down with this year's class of Marin Women's Hall of Fame inductees to learn about their lives, careers, and journeys that have led them here to be honored in this way. Since 1987, the Hall of Fame has inducted more than 150 Marin women of distinction. Women who have made immense contributions to the county of Marin and its residents, as well as to the world beyond. Honorees have distinguished themselves in many fields: education, science, business, philanthropy, the arts, politics, law, philosophy, and religion. Each honoree has been a force for positive change in our community. It is a great privilege to acknowledge and to document their contributions. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Kim Mazzuca, who is being honored in 2024 for her pioneering work for community service. Kim, it's so great to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
I can't wait to learn. All right, so you're being inducted because of your work with 10,000 Degrees.
I believe so. That's where I've been for the last 24 years.
The last 24 years.
It's been an incredible journey.
So tell me a little bit about first the work that your organization does.
Amazing work. So we are all about supporting students from low-income backgrounds to be able to get to and through all the way through college without any loan debt. So we provide all of the college and financial aid advising, the near-peer mentoring, the scholarships, the free financial aid management, all the support that they need. And we do this by being on high school campuses, on college campuses, and really capturing all of the students on those campuses who could use our support.
Well, because when we were talking earlier about kids going to school and how you were saying you really wanted to aim for those that needed it, that were in underserved communities, a lot of times those kids aren't going to seek out help to go to college because college is kind of not really something that they either were told that they could do or even were interested in. It just didn't seem like their path. So how do you find them?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and what you just said is so very true about our students. They don't know that college is possible, and that's why what's important to us is that we go to where they're at, so on the high school campuses. But the key to that, Daria, is that we have fellows who are near-peer mentors. So our fellows are, for the most part, 10,000 Degrees alums that we bring back.
So these were kids that you found, they graduated college. And wait, you said how many have been affected by your program, for example?
18,000 plus.
Okay, and they come back and kind of help other kids.
So we currently have a little over 100 staff on with 10,000 Degrees. About 85 of our staff are working directly in programs, and the majority are alums. We have about 54 fellows who are working with us right now. These are our alums who come back to provide the college and financial aid advising on the high school campuses and also college campuses. We tool them with the deep content expertise, and we also provide them with career and leadership development. They make a 2 to 3 year commitment to work with us. They're paid full-time, they receive full benefits, and they provide the near-peer mentoring, which means students see people who look like them, who are very close to where they are in terms of the college success journey. For many of them have come from the same communities that our students are coming from. They come with similar lived experience, so that trust can develop very quickly between a student and their near-peer mentor.
Because it seems like if you don't know or have seen any engineers or actors or pilots or I don't know, construction workers or architects or just anything, you do what you're familiar with.
And 92% of our students are coming from first-generation families, which means there is no legacy of post-secondary education
Right.
within their family.
Right.
So that's why it's really important for our near-peer mentors to be working with the students and their families to show them what is possible and then what is the pathway to get there.
So when you grew up, was it like, oh, of course I'm going to college, my parents went to college, or what was your situation?
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that at all. My siblings and myself, we kind of had to find our way around that. So I grew up in a working class family.
Right.
Neither of my parents had the chance to go to college. My mother wanted to. She started at the community college, but never finished.
Okay, and wait, how many kids?
There were 3 of us.
Okay,
and for my father, that wasn't important. He felt that we needed to graduate high school and go directly to work.
Right.
But my mother was always on the sidelines saying, you've got to go, it's important. And my sister was also really encouraging my mother to support me in my educational endeavors because I enjoyed school. I loved to learn, I loved to read. And so I know I had these nudges.
So I'm being, so you're a kid and I'm thinking that can go 2 ways. The world is my oyster, like, oh my God, I can be anything I want, or I don't know what to be and I don't.
Yeah. I never saw it as the world is my oyster, quite honestly. It was trying to find my way. I knew as a young child, that I wanted to work with people and in service to others. And I was focused as a young child really on working with people with disabilities.
As a young, okay, so how did that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of kids, 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds are like, I want to help people, and I'd like to help disabled people, especially if they have no experience with that. And it's just me, right? So how were you different? What happened with you?
Really good question. I probably don't talk about it quite all that much. I think the first thing, quite honestly, is we had a family member. It was my aunt, my father's sister, who had Down syndrome.
Okay.
And so at a very young age, I learned what it meant to be different and to be marginalized. I could see how people treated her.
Right.
And she taught me something about compassion and empathy. And she loved us kids so much. And so that was something that was just a real kind of defining experience, I think, in my life.
Well, that's interesting because with Down syndrome, the person can have a lot of difficulty communicating.
Yeah.
And yet you were able to get this message from her that you didn't get her from others.
Yeah,
how was that? How did you... others might say, well, she can't talk to me. Like, I can't. Yeah. But you, how did you get that connection? Where did that come from, do you think?
I mean, I was around her a lot. We spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and she lived with my grandparents. She came over to our home every Sunday night for dinner, and she always wanted to dance in the living room to Lawrence Welk. Right. And I don't know, she was just a lovable person.
Yeah.
So I learned from her. And then I think also, as a young child, I also had an injury, a bad bicycle accident. So I needed a lot of help. And so I just knew that, and I had a very kind doctor. And so I just knew I wanted to help.
That's okay. So there comes the combo. So so then you decide to go into this, and you didn't arrive as CEO and president of a company like you are now.
No.
So what along the way, as people say, well, I want to make such a difference. I want to look at Kim and go like, I want to do that. What along the way were the right turns for you that you might help others now? Like, no, okay, here's how you can sort of rise and keep working and affect more people. And what do you think?
I mean, I think no matter what we do in this world, all of our lives in some way belong to our community and to others. And I think that there were just many things along my career path that continued to help shape my direction. And there was also this very entrepreneurial spirit that I had. Like, I loved creating and developing programs. And so my first 10 years, I was in the rehabilitation field and in special education. And I was developing new programs for people. One of my greatest accomplishments is I wrote this huge grant to the U.S. Department of Education to develop a rehabilitation program for people who had young people who had sustained traumatic brain injury. And we got this grant and we opened up this program, and it was an amazing thing that we were doing. And
so
then
that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I wrote my first big grant when I was probably 24 years old, and we opened up a social recreation program and a voc rehab program for young people who had sustained pretty, severe traumatic brain injury.
So you were seeing that, in your career, you've been able to really have a cause and effect. Like, I did this, and now this person's life is better, and you were seeing that. And you were seeing them succeed.
And I guess what I was experiencing was that if you give people the opportunities, they'll do something with it. They will make something out of it, but they have to be given the opportunities. And we have to open doors as opposed to close doors. And it's typically the environment that disables people. Everybody has huge potential, no matter where they're coming from or what particular maybe disability they have. Everybody has huge potential. And so what can we do to help them realize that? That's
somehow unlock it. Sometimes they don't see it. You might see it.
Absolutely. And that's what I think our alumni do when they come back, is they show to others what the world of possibilities is about. I think that's what I was kind of learning throughout my career, is what we can do for others so that they can see the world of possibilities and really achieve their full potential.
I heard a quote about, and I don't know where it came from. I listened to too many speakers, but it was something about the cracks are what lets the light in. And so, right? So if somebody is so perfect and has no challenges, and it's almost harder for them to be who they're going to be, because it's those challenges that make who you are. So I would imagine that your mentors and your group is like, how can we use maybe what you see as some kind of a lack or a disadvantage or a different look on things to make that a positive?
That's right. It is how we approach our work. It is the strength-based approach, not the deficit.
Okay.
And everybody has an incredible story, right? So how do we share that story? And how do we take what we know, what our background, you think about our students, they have had to manage multiple barriers in their life, right? A young person who's coming from a low-income background, they have experienced the daily trauma of living with a low-income background, living in poverty. And so the resiliency that they have developed, right? And
that's a strength.
And the charge to change things. That's a huge strength.
It's such a challenge, though, at the same time, which is why you're there, because that's a real challenge. When you're worried about, helping your family put food on the table.
That's right. That's right.
You don't have a lot of time to devote to studying, and then I think I'll, go to grad school. That's not happening.
And that's where we come in. We understand that our parents are working multiple jobs, and they can't necessarily be at home at night to help with homework, right? So that's where we come in. How do we get the support for our students around homework, around tutoring, around, accessing, particular student enrichment opportunities? And that's that's where 10,000 Degrees comes in.
Right.
We are a family.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's who we are and
so
what we do.
these are all your kids. I mean,
these are all
you
of
think
our.
of-
This is
This is your, and that's in addition to you have 2 kids, and
Yes.
and that's interesting too, is because now, you know, the kids you're helping are not like the kids that you're raising yourself, right? I would imagine you're giving them all the support and the leg up. You know, they've already got a leg up being, you know, from your family, and so I'm interested. Did you learn anything that you applied to your kids, or like most kids, did they think you know nothing? You know, as far as your parents go, like how was that experience? You know, the professional kids versus your actual kids, and having them listen to you and helping them, and how did that go?
I think because I have been doing the work that I've been doing, I think they did listen to me.
You had street cred.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I was also really cautious not to impose.
Mm-hmm.
And
you mean to tell them what
to do,
Yeah.
right. And, you know, if they said that this is what they were interested in, I would say, that's great.
Right.
You know, explore it.
Right.
See if that's something that you really want to do. Not, oh, no.
Right.
Or yes. I mean, it was just, I was with them in the process, and I went along with them. And then I could interject, you know, this is what I'm thinking. Tell me what you think about that. So it was really kind of,
I think I would like your 10,000 Degrees to give some parenting classes too, because I would take that from you. I mean, that sounds great. I think a lot. That's
and that's not necessarily not the students at 10,000 Degrees probably wouldn't look to me as having street cred. Who they look to are our near peer mentors.
But like you said, that's the whole point of the mentors is.
Yeah.
This lady doesn't do it for me. I need, you need to see what you can relate to.
And one of the things that we learned early on, especially here in Marin, is that mentors needed to come from places that our young people were coming from.
Absolutely.
So to be able to give to a young person, like, so here in Marin County, our students were not seeing teachers who looked like them.
Right.
There are very few teachers of color here in Marin County.
Right.
And so it was really important to us that when we gave a mentor to a young person, they weren't coming from the predominant white, group in Marin, but they were really coming from their communities.
Absolutely.
So they could see what was possible for them.
Because I think when somebody sees somebody who looks like them, I mean, we all say, oh, you imagine yourself. And if you see somebody who's completely not like you, they weren't raised like you go, well, easy for you to say.
That's right.
You don't know. And this way they could say, no, I do know.
That's right. That's exactly right. And they can really have that empathy with the person that they're working with.
Okay, so here we are, you're all accomplished and you're getting recognized, which is amazing. And I often, when people reach what I would consider to be like the pinnacle, of their career, you've achieved so much. Well, you have, right? I always wonder what's next to a person who's kind of, you've got this machine running, it's doing well, you've organized it, and I think what we all aspire to do is leave the world better than we, when we were here.
Yeah.
So if you, unlike today, you're getting all this recognition. Let's say if you got no recognition, you'd already traveled the world and money was no object. So basically, the truth, right, Kim?
Wow.
So this is your plan. You're in these shoes, okay? What would you do? What do you want to do now? Money is no object. You've already traveled the world. Okay, and you're going to receive no recognition. What is it that you desire now? What would be next?
So I haven't traveled the world, but I would love to travel to places. So what's next if I had all of that?
Yeah, because I think that distills somebody's pure, like, what do you want to do now? Like, just because you can't not.
Yeah. So I guess
More of this? I mean,
well, a little bit more of this for sure. I mean, I'm hoping that what is beyond for me is to continue to be able to teach and to be in service.
yeah.
So I'm sure at some point in my life I will definitely want to volunteer more. I want to spend time with my family too,
Yeah.
with my kids, with my partner. Both of my parents are 90 and 93, and my mom, who is 90, is very able and is still very vibrant and out there and loves to do things. So I would like to spend more time with her.
Yeah.
And to continue to do what I'm doing in some way.
Right, right. So it's not about the accolades, and it's not about like, I reached this goal, because you did all that. You have the accolades, you reached this goal, but yet you keep going. You just...
Yeah. This was all a very big surprise to me.
Really?
For me, it's not so much about accomplishment. I feel like I've been doing the work that I was meant to do. And it's been an incredible journey, and I have learned so much from it. For me, it's been a journey of how do we love the best we can? How do we do the good as much as we can?
Yeah.
And when I think about, just reflecting on the last 24 years, I think, having been at 10,000 degrees that long, I think the beauty of that is now I can see these incredible alumni now who are raising second-generation college students.
Right.
Who, we have hundreds of our alumni who are working in the educational system right now here in Marin County. We have city council members, school board members, people who they're change makers. They're changing the narrative. So to be able to observe that is, that's the work, right, we should all be doing, right? Leaving the world a better place and making sure that the next generation is doing the important work when we step aside. So I just want to continue what I'm doing until I can't do it any longer.
Well, so it seems like that'll be for years to come.
I hope.
And then working in your own family, and just the fact that we still have you doing this amazing work is...
Yeah, I think, 10,000 Degrees, I always say, is so much more than an organization. We say it's a growing community of good people.
Exponentially, right? Because you already
exponentially, who are, and we are deeply committed to a more just, more beautiful, more equitable world where everyone belongs. And as for Marin, I think if no other place, we can do that here and do it beyond. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel just a little bit better having even talked to you, doing so much good. It's amazing. It's really inspirational.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Daria, for the opportunity.
What a great experience, and congratulations.
Thank you.
That you're getting this recognition, and your entire organization. And we thank you for this glimpse that you've given everybody who's watching, and thank you for tuning in.